Hello everybody, my name is Anna and welcome to my channel, Anna Always Reading. So it's been a little bit since I recorded a video, but that's all good because I'm back, I'm here, I'm better, and today I'm going to record a book review on the book By a Charm and a Curse by Jamie Questel. So the publishing house sent me a review the other week asking if I could review this book because I posted that glowing review of A Night Circus a couple of years ago, I'm pretty sure. So they were asking me to review this book because they thought it would be down my alley, they thought I'd be interested, so I said, cool. I got on NetGalley, I downloaded it on the Kindle app, and I've been reading it for the past couple of days. I finished it in, I think, 4 days. It's not very long. I think it's 300 pages if it's an actual book, but here are my thoughts and what I thought about it. So the synopsis for the book is right here, so I'm going to read it off my laptop on goodreads.com, but it says, Legrand's Carnival Fantastic isn't like other traveling circuses. It's bound by a charm and held together by a centuries-old curse that protects its members from ever growing old or getting hurt. Emmeline King is drawn to the circus like a moth to the flame and is unwittingly recruited into the folds of the mysterious circus by a team whose kiss is as cold as ice. Forced to travel through Texas as the new girl in a box, Emmeline is completely trapped. Breaking the curse seems like her only chance at freedom, but with no curse, there's no charm. Dooming everyone who calls the Grand Circus home, including the boy she's afraid she's falling for. Everything, including his life, can end with just one kiss. So that's the given synopsis for the book. When I read it, I was like, whoa, that sounds pretty sick. That's cool. I'm about it. Alright, so I started reading it. So I'm not going to get really into what I thought about it. So we're going to do my regular breakdown of characters, plot, writing, and then overall. So let's get into it. So the book starts off with Emmeline King, the protagonist. So she's dealing with a lot. Her mother has just left her family so that she can go to Guatemala to get a research grant, and she's left her father and the rest of her sibling and the rest of her family in her little small town. They were not originally living in this small town. Her mother just left them there so she could go get this grant, which didn't make much sense to me. But I thought Emma was alright. She was kind of basic, not gonna lie. Like, she didn't have many goals in life. I think that was the whole point though. She was like very purposeless. So I think that was the main goal. Second character, Emma's love interest, Ben. Ben was okay. Ben was alright. He was also kind of basic. He didn't have much goals. Like, he was part of a carnival, but he wanted to leave. Like, Ben was like, I want to get out of here. And then we had the whole other cast of characters, including Gin, Whiskey, Marcel, all the people who were actually part of the circus, the carnival, and that Ben has grown up with his whole life. My only issue with the characters is that they are all very one-dimensional. Like, all of them seem to have, like, one goal and one purpose. Like, they didn't necessarily do more than one thing. And I feel like she could have gotten a lot deeper into the characters because they all just did one thing. Like, Ben was a carpenter, and that was pretty much it. Whiskey and Gin, they were the horse show girls, and Marcel was a knife thrower. We didn't even get to really meet Marcel until, like, the last quarter of the book. Like, I was like, what? He was barely introduced and he was Ben's best friend, you know what I mean? So I feel like the characters could have been much more well developed. We could have gotten better into their stories. We could have seen them interact a lot better. And that's all I have to say about the characters. Like, they were alright. I don't necessarily have any large problems. I just felt like they were not that interesting. Like, this book was not character driven, like, whatsoever. They didn't make me want to read the book. Like, I wasn't necessarily interested in them or their lives overall. But what can I do? I also have an issue with the fact that the only black characters in the book were token side characters. Like, everybody else, like, all the black people were not protagonists. Like, none of them had more than one line a chapter, which is what I was super duper annoyed with. I've made multiple videos about diversity in books, and more new books are coming out, and this book that's coming out in 2018 doesn't have a black main character or any person of color. Do better. That's all I have to say. Like, not necessarily this author, but books need to do better. Alright, so plot. So I thought the whole premise of this book was super duper interesting. Emma being trapped as the girl in the box, which didn't make much sense to me because I thought that she was legitimately, like, trapped in a box, like a carton box. But as the book got on, we found it was kind of like it was a booth. She was a fortune teller pretty much. But she was the one that was holding the carnival together. Without her being cursed, nobody else would have felt the effects of the charm. Nobody else would have been able to be protected during their stunts. So that whole thing was cool. Like, I understood. I was like, whoa, but it is not close to the Night Circus the way it was advertised to me, like, at all. If you want to read a book that's like the Night Circus, read The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye, but it is not like the Night Circus. The only thing that they have in common is the fact that they're circuses. That's it. The plot was interesting. I thought that it was pretty fast moving. Like, it did not slow down at many parts. It did not make me feel like it was drudging along unnecessarily. Things happen when they need to happen. Overall, it was pretty predictable. From the third chapter, I could already tell what was going to happen, and I'm not going to spoil it for you guys because this is a spoiler-free review, but you're going to figure it out. Like, so the writing of this book was one of the book's highlights. Honestly, the characters and their emotions were pretty evident in their actions because of their age. Like, I was like, oh, I understand why they're doing this, because they're so young. Like, none of them were older than 17, the main characters. So I was like, okay, yeah, I understand they're all like super show-offy, like all the words and the phrases that they threw around. I was like, yeah, this is pretty common. It's not like they use lots of slang, but I could hear them talking in my head, you know what I mean? Teenage inflections. The only thing that I had an issue was the fact that it was dual perspective. It went back and forth between Emma and Ben, and that was not necessary at all. Like, you could have blended them together into what is it called, narrator, and the book would have been so much better. The chapters were super duper short, and they kind of like cut off in some points, which like annoyed me, because I was going for Emma to Ben, and Emma would be in one situation, and then it would switch over to Ben. Emma would be in a situation, switch over to Ben. If it was just one all-seeing being that could describe everything, we could have had longer chapters that went on and did not end so abruptly. Alright, so overall, I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars, which means it was decent. Like, less than 2 stars, it means it's bad, and more than 4 stars mean that it moved me, you know what I mean? But this book did not move me. It was average. It was alright. It was kind of what I expected from this book. From getting into like the first 5 chapters, like I could kind of tell where it was going to go, and I did not predict the book. Like, I predicted what was going to happen. Like, you're going to be able to read this and see what happens, but I do recommend it if you want to, like, read for the week. It did not take me very long to read. It was fast-moving. You had a little bit of laughs. Overall, I was stressed. Like, reading the book, I was stressed. I was extremely stressed out because, like, so many things were happening, and I was like, so if you want your heart to start moving because of a book, totally grab this book. It's coming out February 6th. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to leave a comment, make sure you do that down below. Subscribe. I don't know how often I'm going to make videos. I'm not even going to lie. If you want to read this book, tell me about it down below. If you don't want to read this book, tell me. If you're interested in any other books that I've mentioned in this video, check them out. I talked about The Crown's Game and The Night Circus. Check out my last video and all other videos on my channel. Remember, reading today, reading tomorrow, reading fivever. Bye!